Hello and welcome to Casual Veteran Gamer. In the Baldur's Gate 3 video today, we are looking at a build called Tavalorian. This was sent in by a viewer named Evanmore, or Evanmore, however you pronounce it, so thank you very much. And so a bit of background for Tavalorian. He was raised by a secretive cult of Tempus and helped support it through his earnings as a bounty hunter. Taken by the Nautiloid, he doesn't know the fate of his kinsmen and seeks to reunite with them by whatever means necessary. Despite being an extremely skilled warrior and devotee of the god of war, he doesn't always resort to violence as a first option. Weapons are a part of his religion, but so is honor. Not to mention that a bounty hunter who fights his quarry when he doesn't need to is probably going to end up a dead bounty hunter fairly early on in his career. If intimidation and persuasion aren't enough, he always has his weapons. Always. He also keeps many tools and tricks up his sleeve. He's not above taking advantage of terrain, surfaces, potions, or the odd alchemist's fire to gain the upper hand. So here is Tavalorian in all of his glory at character creation. Obviously we have a custom origin, we still can't change that. Character name Tavalorian, good name. And he's got a soldier background. I'm just going to go through all the tabs. He's a human. So as a human, has a base racial speed of 30 and +1 to every single ability score. For the appearance, we've got head 4, hairstyle 18 and facial hair 1, with basically everything being brown hair, brown eyes. Class is a ranger, bounty hunter fits very well, and urban tracker fits very well also. These are both thematic choices, and actually I think they're quite decent choices, giving us proficiency in more skills. As for the chosen skills, we're going with insight, stealth, and survival. And lastly, the ability points. The person who came up with this said they got a strength of 16 and dexterity and con of 14 each, and then I quote, above average intelligence and charisma but only middling wisdom. He's smart but sometimes makes bad choices for good reasons and has an almost unwitting ability to make friends and intimidate enemies at times. So taking that into account, I decided to give him an intelligence and charisma of 12 each, which gives him a +1 modifier, and a wisdom of 11. We've kind of got 1 point spare. We could put it anywhere we want, really. It doesn't matter too much. I'll just put it into wisdom. And there we have it. Off we go. Tavalorian is on the Nautiloid and has just met Lae'zel, and he likes his shiny armor. So thank you very much, Lae'zel. Thank you for delivering this armor to me, says Tavalorian. At level 2, rangers get to choose a fighting style, and I have been instructed to pick defense, which gives a +1 armor class while wearing armor, and then we get to pick 2 level 1 spells. The first of which is Hunter's Mark, which is one of the ones automatically picked for us, and then the other one says Hail of Thorns and Jump. I don't know whether it's supposed to be in that order, but I quite like the idea of giving him Jump first. I think quite interestingly with the Jump spell, you can see I've already cast it. Standing by the first waypoint, we can just about jump up to here. And he can explore in maybe an unconventional way. Different way to normal. Sorry, Shadowheart, you're going to be left down there for a bit. We've still got jump going. So we can go meet Gale. There we have it. One thing never to forget about Tavalorian is that weapons are his religion. And having been stripped of his weapons on the Nautiloid, he has to make do with what he can find. And in this sarcophagus inside the dank crypt is going to be the first weapon that he will wield, the Watcher's Guide. Now, he foresaw that traps were going to be here, so he has avoided them. I quite like that this build includes the Watcher's Guide. I rarely actually use it on a character. So it is a spear, it's two-handed. It is versatile. There's 1d8 piercing damage, but it has a magical property. When the spear misses its target, the wielder's next attack against that target has advantage. This is really nice. This kind of is a nice little thematic thing as well, that Tavalorian is a good fighter, and should he miss, it means his next attack is going to be much more likely to hit. Now, unfortunately, the source material for Tavalorian is rather different to the setting of Baldur's Gate 3 of Sword Coast and Faerun, so we're not going to find weapons that match exactly the source material, so we're just going to have to make do with what we have. At level 3, Tavalorian gets to pick a subclass of either Hunter or Beastmaster, and the most thematic thing very clearly and obviously is Hunter. I've been advised to take Horde Breaker, although evermore, however we say it. So it does say that any of the 3 choices are thematic, so you can pick any of them. I'm going to stick with Horde Breaker because I haven't used it in a while, though I do find that the chance to use it is quite low. And we get 1 more spell, and so I will take Hail of Thorns as suggested. I'm not going to replace any spell, so that'll be it for level 3. Tavalorian is glad to have found something that resembles civilization in the Druid Grove, and the reason for this is you can pick up some just basic equipment, mostly basic equipment, that helps armor him out. So he's picked up a helmet, which is an absolutely essential piece of his outfit, and some metallic gloves and metallic boots just to completely cover himself in armor. And also it's suggested that Tavalorian should have Spell Thief as his ranged weapon, which is available from the Druid Grove from Auntie Ethel. So he won't be picking up too many more items. I'm probably going to go and get him the Guidance Necklace. This necklace allows him to be closer to Tempest, his god, and his god Tempest will give him advice on certain situations as he goes through his adventure. In the event that you don't know where to pick up the necklace that gives the guidance cantrip, I just want to point out that the Druid Grove is just here in the background. You jump up onto these rocks, follow the rocks up, there are a few places to climb, and then on this skeleton we have just a silver pendant that gives you the guidance divination cantrip. So now Tavalorian is ever closer to his god Tempest. At level 4, Tavalorian gets a choice of an ability score improvement, just like anybody else, but doesn't have any other choices to make. And he is going to pick Martial Adept and the Menacing Attack and Disarming Attack maneuvers. So what this does is allows him to use these two maneuvers, but he only gets one superiority die, and he gets one of those per short rest. As described in the introduction, Tavalorian isn't just going to rely on his weapons, he will use other tools at his disposal. So there is a phase spider on top of a spider's web, and he's going to throw the alchemist's fire in the hope that it also burns the spider web. Oh, no, that went wrong. There's alchemist's fire fell beneath. Oh well. Well, he'll continue his hunt, at least anyway. So trying to learn from his mistake, he is going to try and shoot the web. It's not actually a great chance that it will work, but it did. Knock the phase spider prone, almost into the fire, and now the phase spider is his prey. So Tavalorian is down in the Underdark, and he spots this interesting blade sticking out, and he reads the drowned inscription, seeing how it is devoted to a god. He realizes this is some sort of holy weapon, probably, so he's going to investigate. Now, although he might be better at strength, he is religious in a way, following Tempest, the god of war. So he's going to see what he can remember, calling on Tempest and having Shah grant him advantage. Well, there we are, look at that. Perfect. And recognizing the symbols and the writing, he realizes what he needs to do.
It rises from the stone, hanging in the air.
And so now he has two weapons that were once wielded by potentially fellow religious warriors. So he's going to equip this. It's not especially special. It doesn't have any special abilities apart from the fact it's a +1 weapon, which is good, and it does a bit more damage. And maybe he can switch between them depending on the circumstance. The one nice thing about the longsword is it has extra weapon abilities, because the Watcher's Guide as a spear just has the single rush attack, whereas the longsword has the rush attack plus lacerate and pommel strike. And now, just because it's cool and I get bonus points for doing this apparently, we're going to make it light. One good thing, and almost essential thing, since Tavalorian is a human, he doesn't have dark vision, and so when the weapon has light on it, there'll be no disadvantage from a target being obscured by darkness. Doesn't mean he's necessarily going to hit though. And in desperate times, call for desperate measures. Sadly, the Bullet is not actually scared. So Tavalorian is going to have another go. He's already cast Hunter's Mark this round. Gale threw a health potion at him to get him back up. And Shadowheart has chucked down a guiding bolt. So he can do a half decent amount of damage. Tavalorian will always be on the lookout for extra tools to use. And on this executed deep gnome here, we have 3 bombs. Probably one of the most valuable gnomes in the game. Tavalorian realizes that these Kuo-Toa are wasting their belief, worshipping a false god. And he means to put a stop to it, using one of the tools of the trade. So here we go. Did quite a decent amount of damage, nearly killing 3 of them. And Tavalorian does know how to work as a team, so he set these Kuo-Toa up for Gale, who can use Shatter. Not quite killing 3 of them. And Tavalorian is not scared to go after the biggest threats, the main threats, which he has identified as Bual here. So starts off with a pommel strike, follows up with actually just trying to disarm this guy. Didn't quite work, but you can't win them all. Tavalorian has been working well with Lae'zel to try and take down Bual. Indeed. No fear, Lae'zel is here. And now it's just a cleanup operation. So there is but a single Kuo-Toa here. He had to use jump to get up here. And he still can't quite do it. Oops. Seeing himself surrounded by enemies, he's going to pop a potion of speed. And head for the nearest important target, taking a couple of opportunity attacks if needed. But thankfully with haste, armor class is up by 2. Now, unfortunately, he's used his bonus action, so he can't cast Hunter's Mark, he can't use Pommel Strike, so he's going to go for... He's going to start with Horde Breaker. Make sure we get this attack. Then go for a menacing attack on Novice Garmor. Not a bad start. Could have been better, but not a bad start. So it's back to Tavalorian. He can set up Hunter's Mark this time. Still go for Horde Breaker. The lovely critical hit. And then follow up with a hit against Lurgan. Gale Misty stepped up here and used Thunder Wave to knock him down here, which was lovely, right into the hands of Tavalorian. Taken him down, and he's got one more attack because of the Potion of Haste. Going for a bleeding attack. It's finishing off 2 of the most deadly Duergar down here. That's more like it. Who needs to waste their skills on Kuo-Toa, eh? And so with 1 round left on the Haste Potion, he's going to cast Jump and try and get up next to Get Call. Although apparently this is not possible from this direction. Let's try from another place. We'll take some opportunity attacks maybe. Barely matters. He's got a single action left. Try and take down Get Call. It's not very likely. He's got 13 hit points. He can do a maximum of 14 damage. Here we go. Oh, perfect. Takes down all of the rest of the summoned undead. So there, that was a bit of a better show from Tavalorian at the end there. He's lethargic now because the haste potion has run out. So let me know what you think of the build. Again, thank you once again to Even More or Evan More for the build and giving the inspiration for this. Hopefully you can give a comment on how you think this went down. If you like this build, please do check out some of the other kind of roleplay type builds. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.